G'day jabronis, it is Averd back with you again. Welcome here to our, what is this? Week 3 team builder for BNR. Tampa Bay Frogadiers are up against the Rhine Valley Guardians, coached by Johnny or Risepool. We have, I believe, played once before. I can't remember if we did. I think we did. I can't for the life of me fucking remember, but he is a really cool guy. We get along really well, and I'm really keen to play him. So yeah, if you guys are hyped for this one, you know, like the video, all that good shit, but without further ado, let's get into the draft. So obviously after last week, I was a little bit upset because of some unfortunate turns against Owen, but you know what? After watching it back, I definitely could have played that game better, and I think even if those turns had played out my way, I think with what he kind of prepped, I think I was kind of screwed. So, you know what? We just take it on the chin, we try and move on. We're going to try and go to 2-1, because a lot of the good teams are at 2-1, and we want to get there too. And 1. No, but for real, I'm pretty excited for this matchup. I think it's pretty even. He definitely has a lot of threats, but I mean, so do I. And I've got some really spicy tech coming up for you guys that I'm really keen to show off, because I'm finding more and more when I play that I just want to try and be more creative. Even in like NPL, any league that I'm in, I just want to try and have more fun and be creative, because I'm finding that I'm enjoying the battles more when I can use these unique sets. So first and foremost, we are going to start with a pretty conventional set, and that is a nice defensive Zapdos. Basically, it's here just designed to kind of deal with Taunty, Mega Sizzle, Gliscor to an extent, and Mienshao. Wanted to run Toxic, but went with Defog because of the fact that Togekiss and Volcarona are on this team too. Although, like, looking at his team, he has a couple of Rocks options. I'm not sure which one he's going to go with. We'll have to wait and see. Very curious how he plays around that one. But, yeah. Starting off with that, I mean, Static is there just because it punishes Taunty, trying to attack me, same with Mega Sizzle. So, like, my whole plan is, like, to actually lead Slowking in this matchup, as weird as it sounds. Because I feel like there's a good chance Johnny might want to lead with, Torn or something. I don't know, I just want to bait, like, a U-turn play and then catch him with the Static. That'd be dope. But at the same time, I may just lead Jirachi, because you'll see why. But Zapdos has enough speed to speed type with Manaphy. Roost and Defog are just kind of necessary defensive mechanisms, and then HP Ice and Discharge kind of covers everything on his team. Only thing it doesn't really cover is Rotom Frost, which could be slightly annoying in this matchup. I don't know if he's going to bring it though. We'll see. And I guess also doesn't really hit Hooper that hard, but as you'll see, I also have kind of plans around Hooper. Plus, like, if I can get the power on Hooper, that's pretty nice as well. So overall, it's not too bad. Nice bit of fat bulk in there just to deal with all the mons on his team, more or less. Anyway, moving on to this Slowking set that I was mentioning to you. So this took a while to kind of come up with, but I eventually decided, fuck it, I'm going to go with it. The whole premise of this Slowking set is it's a bait kind of lure set. So it's actually, funnily enough, running enough speed, I think. Hold on. Now it is. It's running enough speed to creep a Amoonguss outside of Trick Room. So this is the weird part about this Slowking set, is it's running enough speed to outspeed an Amoonguss outside of Trick Room, because I think he's going to predict me to run a Slowking that is just quiet-natured, so that he knows his Amoonguss will outspeed it before Trick Room, and I can kind of catch him off guard with that. Now, I'm running Life Orb for a few reasons. First and foremost, it means that Life Orb Signal Beam will OHKO Hooper Unbound, which is massive. It also means that Life Orb Fire Blast will OHKO Mega Sizzle, even if it's like max for death. Well, Fire Blast is always going to knock it out, but Fire Blast is actually here because it's a bit of a lure, I guess. Like I was saying, Slowking can outspeed Amoonguss, and so when Slowking comes in against Amoonguss, if it's like weakened already by something, then Slowking can click Fire Blast, and if he tries to preserve his Amoonguss for some reason and goes out to Scizor, then I can blow the Scizor away. I actually don't think he's going to bring Amoonguss in this matchup. I don't really see what good Amoonguss actually does for him, but I mean, Johnny could surprise me. He knows how to use his mons for sure, so I got to keep an eye out for everything. Psyshock is the main attack of choice. Life Orb Psyshock is a 2-hit KO on Bulky Torn. It is like OHKOing a bunch of stuff, and Signal Beam is just nice too for the Uxie, because I feel like Uxie is going to be the main switch into this, and Signal Beam is like a 2-hit KO on that Uxie set. I was really tempted to bring Buginium on Slowking, but as you can see in the back, there is another Zmon that was far too tempting in this matchup. But really keen to use this Slowking. It's also just nice as a pivot. It can kind of deal with a lot of things on the team. Life Orb Psyshock actually does a ton to Manaphy, so it prevents it just getting a free Tail Glow. It basically puts it in range of some of my other faster Mons, so I really like that aspect too. And yeah, it's pretty fun. I'm kind of tempted to change it back to Psychic because of the Gliscor matchup, but at the same time I do have a lot of ways of dealing with Gliscor, so I don't know, we'll see. Moving on though, we got a nice Togekiss set here. So Kiss, big Scarf in this matchup, which is really nice. I know he has a Mega Sizzle, so it might seem a bit odd to bring a Scarfed Kiss, but you got to remember that Sizzle is more than likely going to have to click BP against me, and that means, you know, I'm either going out to my Zapdos and I'm paralyzing him, or I get to go out to my Volcarona and get the chance to burn him. So it forces his hand a little bit there. I'm running Trick because I feel like there are situations where it's going to be better in the long term to trick a certain Pokemon, even if it's something like Tornadus, as weird as it sounds. Being able to lock that thing into just one move means I can play a lot easier around it. And that's why I'm also running Roost, just because I can trick things like the Uxie to kind of shut it down and then potentially steal its leftovers, and then can run this as, you know, a Kiss that can be a little bit more obnoxious against things like Gliscor. In that regard, running max speed so I can speed type with Hooper Unbound. And the Flamethrower is there, obviously. Like I said, there are turns maybe where I'm in against the Amoonguss or other things that maybe, you know, he tries for some reason to go hard Scissor and I can punish it. I mean, even if he goes into Scissor, I get good chip with Air Slash, so I'm not too worried. And like I said, I have great switch-ins for Scissor. So yeah, Kiss was pretty much a no-brainer. Second Scarfer on the team is Rachi. I really want to try and bluff Scarf on Rachi as much as possible. So like if I lead with Rachi and he leads with Torn, then what I'd like to do potentially is just hard swap out of Rachi into Zapdos. Because if I do it that way, then if he clicks like U-turn or whatever, it shows maybe that I'm not Scarfed. Maybe I can like bluff that fact, but yeah, the main point of Rachi, I guess, in this matchup is just kind of U-turn spam. I initially had Sleep Talk instead of Stealth Rock, but I initially also had a Hippowdon instead of a Volcarona, so lots of things changed, but I got the rocks there just in case there's a turn maybe where it's free to set them up and it's pretty obvious that he's going to swap out, not wanting to deal with whatever my Jirachi is going to be able to do. There will be opportunities where that happens, I'm sure. Or if I just get a free turn to get the rocks up, I will get them up, because rocks here are really nice to pressure his team. His Defog support is not that great. Obviously I'm rocking Defog on Zapdos, so it's a little bit, yeah, but like with rocks up, there's a lot of calcs that work in my favor, so I want to try and get them up if I do get the opportunity. But yeah, I just got a message on my phone that I'll deal with later. Anyway, but Rachi, like, Zen Headbutt is mainly just there because it smacks up the vast majority of his team. Obviously, Sizzle does resist. Sizzle actually does resist this entire set, which is kind of a bit of a downer if Sizzle's still around, but like I just feel with the Slowking having the fire move, with Zapdos being around, with what my Latios has, with what Volcarona has, I just find it very unlikely that it's going to come down to Sizzle versus Rachi in the end. And even if it does, then Headbutt might just pull through. I have Ice Punch because there's obviously a Gliscor, there's a Torn, there's Archeops, I guess. And U-turn, obviously, for the Hooper, but just great for momentum as well. Puts a lot of pressure on his team, especially if I can get those rocks up. So yeah, double Scarfer. Should be a fun time. Next up, we have Latios. So the whole big thing about the Slowking set that I'm hoping it pulls off is that it baits in either the Uxie or the Hooper Unbound and then just gets rid of it for me. That would be fantastic, because this set can basically prosper when I get rid of Uxie and Hooper Unbound. You might be thinking, Verd, why didn't you just run Hidden Power Bug on your Latios and just, you know, stick with the theme of just trying to get rid of Sizzle? And like, that makes sense, but it's easier for Slowking to kind of bait in. I mean, I guess the thing is, like, Slowking has the Fire Blast, so it's there for baiting Sizzle, so what's the point of Hidden Power Fire on Latios? And I mean, I have been tempted to instead run like Shadow Ball or just Dragon Pulse in general, because that will hit everything still reasonably hard. It's just a situation of like Fire Blast is a nice contingency plan, but there's a chance also that I don't even use it. Whereas with Hidden Power Fire, Latios is one of those things that can draw Sizzle in and basically knock it out as well. So it's kind of covering all avenues what I'm trying to do. Not to mention, like, I know I have Volcarona, which can also deal with it, but HP Fire is just needed in this situation. I'm not wanting to go without it. Once Uxie is weakened and once Sizzle's basically down, then Psychic Spam after Calm Minding is just really, really nice. I have the Roost for a potential, like, U-turning Mienshao, so I can kind of just roost up the damage that I take or the knockoff that I take, and then just kind of play accordingly from there. But yeah, this thing can just punch through his team quite easily, and yeah, not very much to say. It's a pretty straightforward Latios set. I'm actually not sure about Calm Mind. The reason I have Calm Mind is because Latios, for some reason, does not learn Signal Beam, and I find it very, very frustrating. I am tempted to change Calm Mind to, like, Ice Beam, because with Ice Beam, I can hit things harder, but at that point, I would probably just go with, like, Bolt Beam plus HP Fire, which is, like, kind of good, but not really. So it's a choice of, like, Calm Mind here, which is kind of okay, or going with, like Shadow Ball for Uxie. Dragon Pulse isn't really needed here. Maybe I will go with Shadow Ball. I'm pretty sure you get Shadow Ball, yeah. Unless it's like a better Dark move that you get. No. So I'm pretty sure Shadow Ball will do the most. I'm just trying to think in my head. Does 160 Draco Meteor does more? Draco is 130, right? Yeah. 130, so that does 195. Stab to an Uxie. If I run Draco Meteor. I kind of like Draco just for the damage output that it gives me. I know it can leave me a bit vulnerable afterwards, but I can still probably knock out a Sizzle with HP Fire. And I will keep it just as Psychic. No, I'll change it to Psyshock because that catches off AV Torn. Boom. Kind of adjusted. Like, the Calm Mind isn't really necessary in this matchup, I don't think. But yeah, speed tying with Archeops with this set. Yes. And lastly, we have probably like the crazy set here, I guess. Well, I think it's kind of crazy. Which is Fire MC Volcarona, but I'm running Overheat. Now, the reason for this is because early doors, the way that I want to play my Volcarona is like bringing it against like a Moongus and then just clicking Fiery Dance. Without like trying to quiver or anything else, clicking Fiery Dance, because that'll basically knock out a Moongus, right? And I can kind of scout what he wants to go into, like if he goes Hard Manaphy, if he goes into Taunt, if he goes into Hooper, if he has like the Archeops or anything else, what he's going to go into. And I just want him to kind of have in the back of his mind that I have Fiery Dance as my fire move, so then when I potentially quiver up and he's expecting Fiery Dance, he knows he can live that, then I can drop an Overheat, and like the same thing with any move, even like Fire Blast. Like I was doing calcs where after rocks, a Gliscor set that's designed to not die to a Fire Blast after rocks will get OHKO'd by Overheat. So that's really nice. It's just really good to lure a lot of things in. It is kind of unfortunate to use it like without the Z move, but that's why I also have Fire Dance, because at +1 I can just run through a lot of his team. It is risky not running like any kind of recovery, but the whole point of this Volcarona is getting it into a situation against, say, like Scizor, or a Moongus, or even like a choice-locked Mienshao, hell, even Uxie to an extent, and just go for that Quiver Dance, and then just proceed to put a lot of pressure on his team. Z Overheat after rocks will also just, well, I mean, Z Overheat even without rocks pretty much just OHKO's AV Torn, which is fantastic. I feel like he's got a good chance of bringing AV Torn here, or he's going to bring like Icium with Icy Winds to blow away my Zapdos. But this Volcarona set should be a lot of fun. I'm really keen to try it out. I think that, you know, it puts in a lot of work in this matchup if I can get it in the right circumstances. But yeah, the speed is creeping Uxie as well as Gliscor. I could have run enough speed to speed tie with Manaphy, but I decided not to because I generally have no reason not to now I think about it, because I'm running this offensively. I can just run this 252. There's no reason not to speed tie Manaphy. It means a little bit of bulk against Scizor, I guess, but that's just, it's whatever. Sizzle being paralyzed is just as good as Sizzle being burned in this matchup for me, because yeah, full paralyze can be super annoying for him, plus it means that my Slowking will probably outspeed him, and that is awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much the team, guys. Obviously he's got some threats in this matchup. Hooper's going to be a bit of a nightmare to try and play around. That's why I've designed like most of my team to be able to deal with it to an extent. I've got to try and avoid the early rocks game. It's going to be very, very frustrating to deal with early rocks game. which is why probably like I want to lead Rachi in this matchup. It just kind of handles all the rockers that he wants to lead with. Like Archeops, I can just go for Zen against that, potentially flinch it down, which would be phenomenal. And Glysker, I can just go for the Ice Punch. And what other rockers does he have? Uxie, I can just U-turn out against into Zapdos and get off the Defog if need be, and just play around it that way. As long as I can get free passage. I mean, with Rachi as well, I could just U-turn straight out into Volcarona and start to absolutely fuck shit up. Because against Uxie, I will not hesitate to just click Z Overheat. Because, like, if he goes into Torn and Torn is not AV, it's pretty much just dead. So, that's fucking phenomenal. Puts a lot of pressure on his team there if I can do that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Johnny's a fantastic battler, so I know it's going to be a hell of a game, but I'm feeling prepared and ready for this one. Keen to just bounce back from last week. I know I kind of got hard on myself with it, but I do back myself with this team, not making any more changes. Really happy with... Basically, this is like the second draft, so I built an initial team, then just chatted with a few guys, changed a few things, and I'm really happy with how this looks now. So I'm just going to back myself with it and see how it goes. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure you like the video if you did. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll have the battle soon, hopefully, against Johnny. So yeah, catch you later, guys.